I am so excited that now that the sweater is finished, I can wear it now, into postpartum, and even beyond. Hi, my name is Emily Crow from The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel. You'll notice that we are in a new location for today's podcast episode, episode 58. And now that I'm filming, it feels a little echoey in here, and things are still in flux, trying to figure out where I want furniture, what storage solutions I want in this new room for my office and yarn storage space. I'm just figuring it out. So definitely keep an eye out for a vlog or maybe a small series of vlogs coming soon as I continue to redecorate this space and make it suit me and my needs right now. But at least right now, I've got a cute background. I have my yarn all in my shelves, and it was long overdue for a reorganization and just kind of a fresh look at the yarns that I have and what I hope to do with them soon, what things are inspiring me now. And so I'm really happy with how everything is laid out and smushed in there right now. Less things all over the floor, though there's definitely some stuff I still need to tidy and I need to find spaces for. But the shelf back here is basically all my hand-dyed yarns. They're organized by category. Again, vlogs will be coming soon to tell you more about what's back there, but I am happy with this shelf at least. Not necessarily the top, I'm still figuring that out, but at least what's in the shelves, that is all settled, while the whole rest of the room is still kind of in flux. I am really excited that for today's podcast, I have a few finished objects to share, lots of works in progress, lots of new cast-ons that you haven't seen yet, as well as some fun yarn goodies that came in the mail that I've been waiting for quite a while. And I'm just really excited on this new season of crafting as the weather is cooling down. It's been a beautiful fall here in Utah. Before we jump into the projects and yarns and things I want to talk about, first, really quick news. I still have my Discord book club going on for the rest of this month. We are reading With Her Own Hands by Nicole Narig, and we will be doing a discussion with the author towards the end of the month. I'll be posting more about that on my Instagram, on my email newsletter, and on the community tab here. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. If you want to participate in the ongoing discussion on Discord, the link is down below. It's a microhistory on women in different cultures and time periods participating in various textile arts and what those meant for them. So it's been really interesting so far, and I'm really excited to discuss it, not only with all of you, but also with Nicole herself. And then the second piece of news I just want to make sure to bring up is my Bookish Blanket Make-Along is also going on through the end of November. I've got quite a few different videos on my channel talking about what this make-along entails, different pattern ideas, and what prizes will be involved for those who participate and finish a blanket within the time frame. Now, you don't have to have started it within our time frame. You can pull out an old WIP that you've had lingering that you want to try and tackle before December. So make sure to check out the videos I have linked down below to learn more about what this make-along is, because again, this is running through the end of the month, so I'm not going to podcast again until it's already over, and I want to make sure that those who want to participate and knock off a big blanket project on your WIP list get a chance to do that and participate in this make-along. I've got one WIP to share with you that would actually be eligible for this make-along, and so that's kind of fun that I get to share what I'm working on, even though I'm not eligible for prizes, but hopefully to give you another idea on something that you could make during the Bookish Blanket Make-Along, so you can end up with a cozy blanket for when you want to snuggle up and read a good book. Let's jump right into our finished objects. The first one, I am wearing it right now. I'll make sure to pop in some B-roll. This is the Mom's Hug sweater by Anne-Catherine Stoll, which I've been working on ferociously for about a month and a half, and I'm so glad that I have it done. It is blocked, it is ready to wear. It is a little bit on the warm side. It is a high of 60 degrees Fahrenheit today, and that is a little bit too toasty for being inside the house wearing a sweater, though I think it's perfect weather for wearing a sweater outside the house with the fresh air and the wind and whatnot. I use Cascade 220, their non-superwash base, in the color faded denim, which is part of the Heather line. I am in love with this color. I feel like it's a perfect icy blue for the winter season. I'm so excited that for this sweater, it is made to fit a variety of body shapes and sizes, but especially made for a pregnant body, which I am currently 7.5 months pregnant. So I am feeling it. I'm feeling very pregnant right now. And baby's also measuring a few weeks big, and that's not helping. But I can wear it for my growing belly and as my body's changing. It is very accommodating for a body that is constantly changing sizes. It also is accommodating for breastfeeding, which is really handy. So I plan to put this sweater through its paces after baby's here, and it'll be my go-to sweater for the winter season as I'm snuggling up at home with my newborn. But this isn't just a maternity and postpartum type of sweater. It's also intended for you to have outside of those seasons of life. So I'm also hoping that I love the way this fits after I am done with the breastfeeding season of my life, and that I'll continue to enjoy wearing this hopefully for years to come. So we'll have to wait and see how I like the fit, but for now it is comfy. I really like the ways that I adapted this pattern to suit my body right now, and we'll just see, I guess, as my body's changing, if I need to make further adaptations. So really quick, some things that I did. I mostly followed the pattern as it was written, and last time you saw it, I took out my marker because I'm wearing the sweater, but I had a marker like maybe here, so I joined to do the whole like body of the sweater in one panel at that point, and I had knit a few inches under the underarms, and I was just going back and forth working on the sweater body. So I've made a lot of progress on this in the past month. I actually knit this to the length that it said in the pattern. I wasn't sure if I would like that. I tend to have a longer torso anyway, and baby's measuring bigger, so it takes up more space in the front. I was a little bit worried that this wouldn't be long enough, but trying it on, comparing it with the maternity pants that I have and other sweaters and tops that I have that I'd be wearing during this stage of my life, it felt like this was still a really good length for me now, and a length that's not too long for me to wear after I no longer have a baby bump. I just didn't want to have to like make too long of a sweater now to cover my bump and then have to like undo part of it to feel comfortable wearing it later on. I feel like it's the perfect length where it's just a little bit long, but not superbly so. So I think I will still really enjoy it when I don't have my bump. Other than that, I basically just followed the pattern. The only thing I did different was the sleeves. I followed the normal rate of decreasing on the sleeves until I got to right before the cuff, and I was only supposed to decrease, I think like 10 stitches before working the cuff, but I didn't want a loose cuff. I wanted something tighter, and I really like the look of the like balloon sleeve, and so I figured I would just do that. The first iteration of the cuff, I decreased all the way around, so I basically had half the stitches I started with. It was just a little too tight, so I went back, I undid it, and I took out a few of those decreases, and I like this fit a lot better. I just wanted it to be comfy enough where I could like pull it up to my forearms, because I do like wearing shorts and sweaters like that, but that it would also be tight along my cuff. And so this is the perfect balance, I feel like, and I'm really enjoying how it fits. It's a very interesting construction. I don't know if you can tell, but you do like different shoulder panels and the back panel, and then you pick up stitches and start picking up like different sides of the front. So you have like the front outer panel, there's one side, two sides, and then the inner panel is another two different portions that you eventually join together to make like the front outer panel and the front inner panel. And then once you get to under the arms, you can start joining with the back to work not in the round, but work everything in a continuous row, and then just turn your work and go back again. And that's the point where it got easy. I wouldn't say this construction is difficult. It's just a lot of little parts that you are continually joining your yarn to and picking up stitches and increasing or decreasing, doing some shaping. And then once you get a little section done, you have to either cut your yarn or keep your skein of yarn and then move to a different area. So it just requires following through on the pattern and making sure that you are like reading appropriately on the section that you're on. I found that this designer did a really good job at explaining that construction in the moment, so that as long as you focused on the step you were on everything worked out perfectly fine and you didn't have to stress about like how everything coordinated. They were really good at instructing when to cut your yarn and in telling you which part anatomically, I guess, of the sweater you were working on in that given time. There was even a couple small diagrams to help you kind of understand where you were. And so I felt like this pattern was written really, really well and kind of walked me through the whole construction, even though it was a little bit weird of a setup. And because the sweater is almost all stockinette, it made it a lot easier to just kind of pick up and put down, like work on a little section at a time, and then next time I picked it up, work on a different section, like a different part of the shoulder or whatever. It was a nice engaging process at the beginning that wasn't too difficult because of how the pattern was written. And then once I was ready to simplify, I had gotten to the part where I joined all the pieces together and I was just working in rows, which was really nice. I could just go, go, go. I guess one other thing that I did is this front panel, the front outer panel, I guess I should say, has some decreases included, just like once a repeat or something. So there's not very many, but it kind of creates a little bit of a slant with this front panel. That adaptation, I guess, that was included in the pattern was recommended for someone who does not have a baby bump. And I knew since I wanted to wear this sweater after I've had my baby, that it would probably make sense for me to follow that accommodation to make this a more flattering fit when I don't have a pregnant belly. So that was kind of the idea. I just figured for the longevity of this piece, that's what I would do. This yarn, I loved the process of working with it. It's still very soft, but it has a little bit of tooth and a little bit of like, I don't know, like straggly fibers on it, like you would expect from a non-superwash wool. It is, like, now that I'm wearing it, like a smidgen uncomfortable for me in my really sensitive areas. So like my underarm, like upper arm tricep area, kind of. I don't know, that's not exactly my tricep. In that area, I'm a little tiny bit itchy, and I'm definitely on the warmer side than is most comfortable, but that's like a weather issue right now. So in general, I feel really happy about this. I've worn it for a couple hours now and I don't feel like I have to go change or that I have to put a shirt on underneath. So I think it's just getting used to wearing a non-superwash wool. It's a process and I don't wear a lot of non-superwash. So I really enjoyed the knitting process. I think I will enjoy the wearing process just for my test today because I just finished this. So it hasn't gone out into the world. I haven't worn it out in public yet. It has been really nice weather and so I haven't had a chance to. So I'm excited once the weather cools down just a smidgen that I get to wear this. And I'm just really happy with the fit and getting to show off my baby bump. And it's nice and comfy as a top just because it's very loose fitting. Definitely feel like it is modest enough with my higher waisted maternity pants to cover my belly, like between those two pieces of clothing. So I don't have to worry about my belly poking out just like a little bit at the bottom or anything. So I'm very happy with it and I'm excited to wear this a lot over the next, hopefully long time, but definitely for the next few months as I'm pregnant, and then for quite a few months after that as I am breastfeeding in the wintertime. Couple other finished objects. This one you have seen. I don't have my blockers because I lent them to somebody for a project I was doing, but these are my vintage Halloween DK socks. I finally finished them. And this is just a vanilla sock from my own head. The yarn I used was Northwoods Fibers Tweed DK in their vintage Halloween colorway. I had these finished for Halloween. It wasn't quite cold enough to wear them, but I love these colors and they were just a really fun, easy project to knit up with some yarn I had in my stash. It's a few years old, that yarn. I don't think the dyer makes self-striping yarn anymore. And even like looking at their website, their color palette was very different than it was a few years ago when I bought this yarn. So that's kind of interesting. It's a little bit of a relic, but I love these colors. And I'm excited for the weather to be cool enough to wear them. And I think we've just had a really good fall. I didn't do anything like go camping in the mountains or anything while it's cold. I've done it some years. I didn't this year, but these would have been perfect like early October camping socks. So I'm really happy to have this pair finished. And I will show you, I have a whip of another pair of DK socks because I was just really feeling the DK socks. But before that, my final finished object is a Wonderland hat. This is a pattern by me. It is crochet. Such a pretty yarn. This is Sorelli yarn in the color Snowdrift, which was an exclusive winter colorway that they offered, I think this past winter. So the fact that I've used it within a year, perfect. It's ready for the winter season. And this matches the tonals that they have because they do seasonal tonals. And I just love all these colors. There's even some interesting, like almost spiraling color pooling, which is kind of cool to see. But this pattern by me is written in numerous sizes, like 6 or 7, from baby up to like adult extra large. And it's got this easy half double crochet beanie top. You start at the very crown of the beanie, work your way down, and then when it's to the right length that you want it to cover your ears, or I guess however long you want your hat, then you start doing this cool texture. So fun with these split puff stitches. And it makes it so that your hat is really nice and cozy on your ears. This has been a go-to pattern of mine. It's not too difficult for me to pick up and put down. It's a really great way to use up one full skein of worsted weight yarn for an adult small, adult medium size, which is what I typically make for myself or for gifts. If you are making the largest sizes, you might need a smidge extra yarn, but I always have yarn left over, so you might be okay also. But I have all the measurements within the pattern in case you want to know what my estimates are for yardage based on what testers made and my calculations, so you can take a look at that. But if you need anything, it would just be a little bit extra, but you might be fine with just one skein depending on what your yardage is, you know, because every worsted weight yarn is a little bit different. But the reason I made this hat was because I did a bookish and crafting retreat with some friends, and each of us brought a craft to share. And so we brought like all the supplies and taught each other how to do these crafts. And I brought kits for making this hat for my friends. And so I wanted to, since it's been a couple years since I made this pattern, I wanted to make it. I've had this project idea in mind to make a Wonderland hat with this yarn since I bought the yarn. And so I made a point to make this my practice round, I guess, just to take a look at the pattern, see what spots might be a little difficult for someone who's newer to crochet that would be good like teaching moments, helping me be more aware of this pattern I was gonna teach my friends, and then also to notice any like discrepancies in the pattern or any issues that like I would want to point out to them, especially for people who were new to crochet. So I thought that would be a good idea to just prepare me for that teaching experience. And so I'm really glad I did that because it helped me be a lot more confident in teaching this pattern to my friends. And I already had one friend finish her hat, and she was the one who had never crocheted before, which is really awesome. I'm so proud of Angela. I'm excited to see my other friends finish their hats too, but I have a hat out of it too. It looks a little bit, I would say the gauge is a little loose on the top. This yarn is definitely, because it's superwash, it's a little bit thinner, slightly more gappy, I would say, than some of the non-superwash yarn I've used for this hat in the past. But when I'm wearing it, I feel like it fits really well. And with the doubled up brim on the ears, I think it's plenty warm. I'm not putting it on right now because I don't want to mess up my claw clip or whatnot, but I'm really excited about having this hat done, and it actually kind of matches my sweater too. I think it perfect wintry colors, and I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm on top of things, that I finished a winter accessory before winter started. And now I'm realizing that I think I forgot a finished object. I forgot 2 finished objects. Wow, I'm a mess. I'm the worst. And now my lighting is different too. Okay. All right, so as I was filming this video, I realized that I forgot 2 different finished objects that I finished. Technically 3 different finished objects that I finished. And so the lighting's a little different. I do apologize, but these are other finished objects I wanted to make sure I talk about in this podcast episode. First of all, let's talk about my gnome for October. This is Nettle. So cute. Oh my goodness. So this was part of the mystery knit along that Sarah Shearer did for the month of October. There were 2 different gnomes, one that was more pumpkin-y focused and one that was more witchy focused. This is of course the witchy one, and I had such a fun time knitting this. I casted it on towards the end of the month, so I had to work kind of focused on this for about a week to catch up on all the clues, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love the little dangly legs that I can perch her on the edge of my shelf and then have her like dangle off there a little bit. The way that this pumpkin is made, I really liked the instruction that Sarah Shearer gave for that, and I really liked the look of it. The hair is really fun. The little crooked witch's hat. It was a really fun pattern. I was thinking that for November I might make Numpkin, which is the pumpkin themed gnome that is less witchy, more pumpkin-y. I am not decided. I was thinking I would do that just to like finish off that pattern, but I might make, there's a newer gnome that she just came out with that has some really cool color work that's very Christmassy themed. Maybe I'll make a Christmassy gnome. And then for December, I'll do the mystery gnome knit along advent that she does every single year. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but I haven't cast it on yet, so we shall see. But I just pulled some minis and scraps from my stash, which I really love to do for these gnomes, not purchasing anything, but seeing what I have. And I am really happy with how it turned out. And then this was like a set that I knit. And so technically they're two separate finished objects, but I will share them together here. So I made some DK baby socks with a cute little ruffle on them. And then I also knit the Oh Baby Cardi by Rebecca Rich, which is a free pattern. And I knit this for my friend. I went to her baby shower a couple weeks ago and I really wanted to make her something. So I reached out and asked her, if I were to knit something, what kind of thing would you like? And she was open to the idea of cute little socks and like a cardigan or blanket, something to keep cozy. She's due in February, I think. And so I thought it would be really fun to knit this little set for her baby girl. I'm so excited for my friend, and I just wanted to pour my love into something handmade for them. So let's start with these socks first. I am working on some DK sock patterns, just kind of expanding the sock geometry basic sock pattern bundle that I have made in the past. Those are all fingering weight patterns. I wanted to work on some DK patterns. So this is the baby size. So I knit these toe up as a tube sock with some ribbing just so that they kind of cinch into baby's feet a little better and fit the constantly changing size and shape a little better. I did the baby newborn size, probably closer to like a 6 to 12 month size, just depending on how chunky your baby is. I did a ruffle based on the Romance Reader Socks ruffle. That is also patterned by me. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna make a DK sock pattern that just has a bunch of interesting modifications and like little like alterations you can make. So I was just trying things out. I really love how these look. Very cute, very quick to make. And I used the skein of Sorella yarn home line in the color Saturday that I had left over. I had purchased a blue skein and a pink skein before I found out what I was having, and then I used the blue skein already for my baby boy. I figured I would use the pink skein for my friend's baby girl, and it worked out perfectly. Like the amount of yarn I had was perfect for knitting this little pair of socks and this cardigan, and I had barely any yarn left over. It was honestly perfect. I didn't even have a scrap big enough to save for what I like to save for scraps. It was awesome, like very satisfying. Now let's go to the cardigan, which I am so proud of. This Oh Baby Cardi by Roberta Rich is a free pattern, and it comes in like just a few sizes. I knit the 0 to 3 month size, I think. Yes, I think it was the 0 to 3 month size. And I inserted this cool lace detail that was inspired by a blanket that my friend had put on her registry. I wasn't gonna buy a knit blanket with a lace detail. I figured I would make her something with a lace detail. So I decided to put this lace detail into the cardigan, and I used the stitch repeats found in a different pattern that's also free, the Ingrid cardigan by Rilla Runt. But the pattern itself, that Ingrid cardigan, had a lot of issues in the way the lace was written, in like the symmetry of the pattern and the fit. Like there was lots of issues with it from reading other people's notes. So I decided to knit the Oh Baby Cardi that had lots of good things written about it that seemed like it'd be a really good pattern to follow. And then I inserted this lace detail, and it actually worked out really well, much better than I thought. In my Ravelry project page, I have my notes for how I did it, and of course it's just like a draft, so I'm sure there's some mistakes in there, but for that newborn size that I knit, that's a pretty good guideline if you wanted to insert that lace in, just to give you an idea of like how I did that. and it worked out really well. Like it ended up being much more symmetrical and having a lot less issues balance-wise than I anticipated. So I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I want to cast on another one immediately, but I don't have any other baby girls in my like periphery that I can knit this for. So I'm keeping an eye out because I would love to knit this again. Okay, let's talk about whips. I've got quite a few to share with you. This is probably the one I'm most excited about, that I most want to work on, but I have to use it as like leverage mentally for me because I want to just work on this, but it really is low on the priority list. So I'm trying to get the other things done first that I really need to work on, and then kind of gifting myself some time with my favorite project that's bringing me the most joy right now. So this is my Warm Welcome Baby Blanket by Jess Copham. And this is the project I was talking about that would qualify for the Bookish Blanket Make-Along. I am hoping to use up a lot of yarn with this project. And it's a little harder to see on camera compared to in person, but I'm holding Surrey with another yarn with Knit Picks Stroll, just to give it a little bit more of like a watercolory effect and to make the yardage stretch a little bit farther, give this a little bit more oomph to it as I'm working it up, because now it's at a DK gauge, holding Surrey that's a lace weight held with this fingering weight yarn, plus like the halo of the Surrey. I will say it is so soft and squishy. This is not going to my baby. This is gonna be my blanket. But my idea for this, I've had it for a while. I've wanted to use up the Emily Henry colorways by Red Door Fiber Studio in a blanket so that I can like cozy up with this blanket while I read some books, because I really enjoyed Emily Henry's books. Not as much currently as I did previously. I mean, her style is definitely evolving and I still really enjoy her books, but some of my favorites, I loved Book Lovers and I loved Happy Place. And I'm pretty sure this is the Happy Place colorway, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just following the pattern as it's written. You can find it for free on the Make Do Crew blog. I did add some stitches and I can't remember how many, but she gave an example in the pattern. So if you want it to be this much longer, then do 200 and something stitches, because that is a multiple of 12 plus whatever. I can't remember. I was just like, that sounds like a good number. I did the measurements. I was like, that's gonna be a good size, where based on all the colors I have, how tall the blanket's gonna be, that's good enough. That'll work for me. I didn't want to do something super intensive. I just wanted something really easy and fun. I'm doing like the chevron. You can definitely see between the color changes what's happening. And I have a picture, I'll see if I can pop it up right here, but I have a picture of all the Surrey colorways in like a fade order where I alternate between variegated and tonal, variegated and then tonal, but making sure that there is some color continuity throughout all the colors. So I can't remember what's next, but I think it's like a green with some blue in it to match this. And I think after that I have a green tonal, something like that. So if that makes sense, I wanted to do like a color block, but with a pseudo fade between all the colors. And again, this is just bringing me so much joy. It's using up yarn quite fast, and it's just so soft and squishy and pretty easy to work on, honestly, pretty mindless as a crochet project. So I'm just enjoying myself, and I don't know if I'm gonna finish this before the end of the month, because again, it's a low priority project, but I'm having a lot of fun working on this. The next project I have to share is actually a test knit, and I accidentally have committed to a lot of test knits recently, so you'll see a lot more coming up soon. But this is one that I already finished. I just needed to knit one sock for the test knit, and I am working on the second sock now. Again, I don't have my sock blockers because someone else is using them right now. I should get them back soon-ish though. But here is my first finished sock. So pretty. I mean, the sock itself is very wrinkly, but the color right is so pretty. So this test knit was the Cuff Down Fleagle Heel by Abby of What I Knit. She's here on YouTube. I'll make sure to link her down below. I've really enjoyed her channel recently. And she just noticed that there was a lot of toe up fleagle heel patterns, but she couldn't find any cuff down. So she decided to write her own. So that's what I tested for her. I did just a typical 64 stitch count sock, my size, adult medium. And I also did a little add-on for the cuff. I did Summer Lee's Cuff Club Volume 2. I did the August cuff, which is this cute little cable detail, just for a little bit more interest. And then you'll see this Fleagle heel. If you're not familiar with it, basically you're not picking up stitches for the gusset, at least the cuff down version. So for this back panel, you are increasing stitches and doing kind of like a triangular shape, and then you start working in the round again and you start decreasing in the gusset. So the gusset is a lot longer than a heel flap and gusset because you have more stitches than you traditionally do for heel flap and gusset. The fit is like not quite perfect for me. I think I need to adjust the fit a little bit more for what I like, especially like on the back of the heel. Just, I'm used to a heel flap and gusset, which pulls in your stitches a little bit more, whereas this is just stockinette knit flat. It doesn't have as tight of like a grip on the back of my heel. So it's a little bit looser than I would like right here, but the shaping of the sock is really close to what a sock blocker sock is. And so I'm excited to see like how these will wear in the long term. I am on my second sock and I am working on the gusset right now. It doesn't look like much, but you can see that like triangular heel flap. I'm about an inch into my gusset. I've got a little ways to go, but right now I'm just doing decreases. So it's pretty easy and mindless. Doing that heel flap on the back was a little bit more finicky, I would say, just because of how you're doing your increases. And I had to pay a little bit more attention, but now I can turn my brain off and just do a regular gusset construction that I'm used to. This yarn is by Kimber's Cozy Creations. This was a sock set I really wanted to work on this fall, and it's got perfect fall colors. I am like really loving it. This is the Sleepy Hollow sock set by Kimber's Cozy Creations. I love how this orange is playing with the variegated, and this purple is matching really, really well, but it's definitely a little bit more of a subtle look. But I didn't want to use up all the orange and none of the like rosy pink magenta color. So I have some of both in my sock. I also didn't want to do a different colored heel. I just thought with the shaping of it, I wouldn't like how it would look if it was like this weird triangle of color in the back. So I decided to just continue on in my main color for that. So I'm not too far off from finishing this pair. Like I said, I already finished this test knit. I don't know if the pattern is out yet, but if it is by the time I post this video, then I'll make sure to link it down below. But otherwise you can just follow Abby of What I Knit to learn more about that if you are interested. I definitely wanted to explore some more constructions of socks because I've gotten really comfortable with knitting socks, almost too comfortable. I just need to stretch myself and learn some new skills and try some new things. So I really was excited to jump at the chance to test this pattern and try a new to me heel. Another test knit that I am working on that should be finished within the next week or so. Yeah, this is due in about a week. This is the Cyclamen Cowl by Ksenia Nadion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think her handle is Life is Cozy. This cowl is so cute. I had the perfect mini skein set that I really wanted to use. Again, using up some stash yarn, another good reason I love to test knit. So pretty, like so fun. This will be perfect for the springtime. I am just a little over halfway through. You can adjust this pattern easily by doing a different number of stripes of this cool texture. And the way the pattern was shown was turned like this. So they look kind of like flowers, which made me want to use these colors. But the way that the designer knit her version was, she did 5 colors. And then once she reached the 5th color, then she started back with color 4, color 3, color 2, color 1. So I think I'm gonna do that just with 6 colors instead of 5 colors, just to use up more of my mini skeins and to make it a little bit taller of a cowl. And I just wanted to use up the whole set. So I wanted to stop here because I just did the middle colorway so that I could measure my yarn, see how many grams I've used so far, and just to kind of gauge how I'm doing on the pattern. I will say the flower design that intrigued me so much with this pattern is driving me bonkers, and I'm really not enjoying knitting those. So those are like the painful rows that I am not having fun with, which is kind of ironic, but I'm really loving this like lacy detail. You can kind of see before you add in the flowers, you've got this little lace and some garter triangles in there. I've really enjoyed those rounds of the pattern. And I think that as I block this and work it more, those flowers are gonna even out in texture, as I've noticed, like just me working on this longer. Not necessarily like my technique is changing, but the earlier flowers that I've let sit for longer are kind of evening out a little bit, and so they're looking a little bit nicer than immediately after I knit them. I'm just following the pattern, and I'm using US 3 or 3.25 millimeter needles, and I didn't have like the right needle length, like the right cord length for what I wanted to do, and so I ended up joining together two smaller cords. And so it feels a little bit flimsy because I'm using my mini cords, and I'd like something a little bit sturdier with a 3 millimeter needle, but it's working out just fine. And the circumference is perfect for this type of a project, so that's working out great too. This yarn is by So Happy Jane, and it is their Tiny Popper mini skein set. I think Tiny Popper is just like the name of their minis. I don't think it's the actual colorway set, but it's a very springy set. I bought it at the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, and I'm really happy I get to put it to good use. That is coming out really soon. I did mention that I was working on more DK socks, so let me show those now. These had to be put on pause because I signed up for a bunch of test knits, and so I've been busy, unfortunately. But again, these are really easy to work on, so it's a nice mindless project. It's good to have that around. And the fact that I started my Christmas Eve socks in October, like who am I? I'm doing so good on time. This is my first sock, and this is how it's looking. Oh, so cute. You'll notice that there's some cool marling, especially on the cuff. I marled both my colors together, and then on the rest of the sock, I just held 2 strands of a given color. So I doubled up to make the DK gauge on the heel as well as on the rest of the sock. So I've got my 2 strands of fingering weight yarn. The reason I did that is because my husband, when I asked him, he wanted just fingering weight socks. He didn't want anything thicker. I'll have to ask my daughter and see what she wants. I don't know what she wants. She probably doesn't know what she wants, but I'll try to show her and see if she wants thicker socks or thinner socks like she normally gets. And then for baby, I'm gonna knit some DK socks because they need some cozy socks for those cute little newborn feet. I thought it would be more versatile for me to just get all fingering weight yarn, and I can hold it double when I want to do DK socks, and I can hold it single for those who want thinner socks. This yarn is by Yarnaceous Fibers, and I got it at a local store to me, Seed Stitch, which is in Bountiful, Utah. One of my favorites in the area. And the colorways, the main colorway is called Country Christmas, and the green is called Lorien Leaves. And again, I wanted to just play with some marling, so I think this is beautiful, just holding the same colors together, but I just want to play around. And so for the cuff, I held 1 strand of each color to make the cuff. I'll probably for the toe do the same thing just for continuity and some symmetry's sake. But I do like how I made the heel pop a little bit more with the green. I'm starting with my socks because they will use up the most yarn of anyone in my family. My husband's feet are almost the same size as mine, just like a little bit bigger, but he likes ankle socks. So that's gonna save a lot on yarn usage for him. And then I've got a 5-year-old and a newborn on the way, so their socks are gonna be small. So wanted to knock out my socks first, just for yarn usage sake, and then we'll see how everything shakes out with the rest of my family. I do have 2 full skeins of this Country Christmas and 1 full skein of the Lorien Leaves, and that should be plenty for our whole family. Last year, I had that set up as well. 2 skeins of the main color and 1 skein of the contrast color, and I just barely started working into the second full skein of the main color, and I had plenty of the contrast color left. So I think even adding on the baby socks, I think even doing a DK where I'm holding the yarn double, I think it's all gonna be just fine, and I'm gonna have plenty of yarn left over. I'm really excited for these. I just wanted to do something simple this year because I have a lot on my plate right now. I'm getting ready for this new baby, and so I didn't want to have to like follow a pattern. I thought vanilla socks would just kind of be what my soul needed. Also, I just realized most of my bags are all from the same maker, so I'm gonna show you. My bags are from Goose and Ghost Knits, or Ashley Grace Art, and you can find her on Etsy. She's one of my friends, and I love supporting her, but what I love the most about these bags, not only does she sew them herself, but she designs the fabric and draws it herself. She has a graphic design background, and so this is like her art that she orders on fabric, and then she makes a bag out of it, which I think is so, so cool. So I have quite a collection of her bags. But my final work in progress I want to share with you, I just very recently casted this on, but because I finished my maternity postpartum sweater, now I need to start working on projects for baby boy, and I am starting to run out of time. I'm feeling the time crunch. So I cast it on. This doesn't look like much, but this is the neckline right now. This beautiful color. I cast it on the Mountain Romper Suit by Natasha Gizamova, and I'm using the Fiberco's and Make yarn, which is like a wool and alpaca blend. This colorway is called Aquaman, and this is the perfect like desaturated, like greenish mossy type of color that I'm really loving right now, that I'm leaning into for baby boy. And so yeah, I finished the neckline, I did the little detail, just put in all my markers today, and I also put on my bigger needle so I can get started on the raglan increases. It's got this really fun texture. I'm thinking this might be the coming home outfit that we put him in, because he will need to be very cozy in December, January time. So I think that's the plan. I'm really excited to be working on this. This was like the first project I wanted to get done. I will say the pattern is not traditionally tech edited, just the way that it's formatted. It's been kind of hard for me to read and follow, and there's lots of information in the pattern. It's like a 35-page pattern, which would be helpful for some people. For me, it's just a little bit too much information to wade through to get to the actual pattern and what is expected of me. So we'll see how I like this pattern as I kind of get used to the formatting, because it's very different than a traditionally tech edited pattern by someone who is certified with the Craft Yarn Council. I'm excited to see how this works up. Again, I think it's good to stretch myself with a new to me designer, new to me formatting and construction. And I'm really excited to have this finished piece because I'm making the 1 to 3 month size. It's gonna be really small and very cute, and will work up pretty quickly actually. The pattern calls for a US 4, but I went up to a full US 5 because of my gauge swatching. I did it on a regular US 4 that the pattern called for, and my gauge was too small, so I needed a bigger needle. And so then I went up half a size, and my gauge was exactly the same. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for a US 5. If the romper suit ends up being slightly small, it'll still definitely fit because I'm not making the newborn size. I think it'll work out fine, but I also think as I knit, I'll be a little bit more relaxed. I don't feel like I need to gauge excessively for a baby knit as long as I make sure I don't make it too small where my baby won't have a chance to wear it. Because babies start off small and they grow fast. So no matter what you do, it's only gonna last so long. So as long as he can wear it for some portion of time, I'll be happy. We are back to the present time. I had to go film and talk about a couple finished objects I totally forgot about in my notes, which is all on me. But now we're going to talk about some new yarn goodies because I am positive I covered all of the whips that I'm working on. I don't think I forgot any of those. But let's talk about some new to me yarn goodies and things I plan to make with them. I got the next installment of the Yarnaceous Swift Reads Club, and this is the Antiheroes, probably one of my favorite colorways. It's in the Sino Sparkle base, 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% silver stellina, because I just felt like that was perfect for Taylor Swift yarn, the Seduce Stellina. I really love this. It's called the Antiheroes. It's inspired by the book, The Antiheroes, by Jen Lancaster. I would love to read all of these books that have inspired these yarns. I just haven't gotten around to them yet. I think I'm gonna do a vlog where I read the books, share the yarns, and then make something. I have a plan for what to do with all these yarns. I'm gonna have 13 skeins in total when this club is over. This is skein number 10, so I'm getting close. I think it'll be a big project for me to work on next year, maybe next spring, to work on this blanket. I do have a video where I talk about this yarn and what I plan to make with it. I'll make sure to link that video down below. It's my blanket yarns and plans video. And for this club, we get a cute little stitch marker and a little sticker to go on like our little postcard where we can mark off which books we read theoretically. It's been really fun. The yarn is inspired by a book that's inspired by Taylor Swift. So it's just fun inception, and I love book inspired yarn. I've been showcasing a lot of that on my channel, and so I have enjoyed doing this club. Another Yarnaceous yarn that I recently picked up at my local yarn store. This is called Stalactite. It's in her Salta fingering base, which is an 85% superwash merino and a 15% nylon. Such a pretty, like, neutral, a little bit of that like corally, rosy color leaning. Love this color palette. So cute. Probably will become socks or musselburgh or something of that variety, but I just really love that colorway when I saw it at my local yarn store, and so I wanted to pick it up. Something else I picked up at my local yarn store, I was heavily influenced by a sample I saw in the shop, but I picked up some Barocco Ultra Wool DK. This colorway has a number 83103, so nothing super exciting. And now that I'm holding it up to light, is that the same lot number? Okay, it is. It's just the way that the shadows are. I was concerned for a second. This is 100% superwash wool. I love this kind of tan color. Again, part of the color palette that I'm leaning in towards for baby boy. And I'm probably gonna make like a sweater or something for him, but really what I wanted to purchase that for is the James Stay On Baby Shoe by Julia Adams Patterns. And I just love the samples that they had in the shop, and I thought these were so cute. And I do want to make quite a few socks, but I thought making some booties would also be really fun. And they don't use a lot of yarn. I did the math, and I can make a 0 to 3 month sweater out of this yarn and a pair of booties, and it should be just fine. So that's why I have 2 skeins. I should have plenty of yarn to do that with. So again, more projects to add to my to-knit list for baby boy. Time is running out, but probably all of December will be gift knitting for baby boy, honestly, and trying to, you know, race against the clock. I don't know when he's coming. Hopefully on the early side, but I don't know, because my first, I had to be induced. I was induced a little early, but not very early. For this one, I'd love for them to be here by Christmas, but again, we shall see. And then I have a ton of yarn from Treehouse Knit, which is funny. I have 2 different packages that came in from her, but I got her Moana yarn. I just ordered the Moana colorway. Her base is the spruce sock. This is 90% extra fine superwash merino, 10% nylon base. And then I ordered a couple minis. You could order minis separate, which was so fun. This one is Wayfinder, this coral. And then this periwinkle is together still, just a little different. I guess I wasn't sure which one I would like better with this beautiful skein of yarn to make socks, but I want to make Moana socks for my daughter. So I'll ask her what she is wanting. Colorway wise, maybe she'll want me to use both. I don't know, but I'll try it out and I'll see what she wants from Moana, because she loves Moana. When I asked her what we should name baby boy, well, before we knew if he was a boy or girl, she said if it's a girl, Moana, and if it's a boy, Maui. So I figured Moana yarn would be perfect. I needed to make something out of Moana yarn for her. And then I got the next installment of Storyhouse. What is it? What is it called? Like Storytime at the Treehouse, where they have different inspiration for each quarter of the year, different books that Lauren really loved growing up, and you could choose which ones you want to purchase every quarter. And so I've been purchasing 1 or 2 every quarter, just the colorways that are really speaking to me are the books that I really, really loved. And so I have a small collection going of this yarn. I'm not sure what I'll make with it, if I'll add it to like a bigger project of book related yarns or what. But this one is called Kiki's Delivery Service, one of my favorite movies growing up. And I recently read the book. I can't remember if that was this year or last year. It's like a middle grade novel. And then this colorway is called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So fun and colorful. So yeah, I'm excited. I've kept an eye out for this 4th quarter of the year, and I haven't seen any post about it. So I don't know if I missed it, which would be a little bit of a bummer, or if the timing that Lauren is doing is just a little bit different than I was expecting. But I'm keeping my eye out for the 4th quarter so I can maybe purchase some more yarns to finish out Storytime at the Treehouse. But that was a really fun package to get in the mail, because you get the inspiration, like what book it is, and you get also like different color swatches, but you don't actually get to see the yarn, which is just kind of fun. So I know what I'm getting, but I don't know exactly what I'm getting. Still a little bit of a surprise. And then when I picked up my country Christmas yarn from Seed Store, I picked up some other Christmas yarn that I was feeling. Again, the DK, I'm really feeling the DK yarn right now. This is from Lovejoy Fibers, and this is called Vintage Christmas, and I got their sparkle base. This is Sparkle DK, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver stellina. And I got a little mini to go with it. This is Lady in Red, just for some added color interest. I don't know if these will become socks this Christmas or not, but they're making me happy. And I am just ready for Christmas now that Halloween's over and we're getting closer to my baby coming. I just am like really excited to fast forward another month or so and like really enjoy the Christmas season. I do like Thanksgiving too, but I'm probably gonna decorate early for Christmas this year because of the impending birth, and I don't want to be like 38 weeks pregnant and decorating for Christmas. So I will probably decorate in a week or two, you know, after putting away Halloween, deep clean the house, set up for Christmas, and then we'll be good to go until after baby boy is here, and then we can think about putting things away. So we'll have an extra long holiday season this year. Podcast is a little bit longer than I anticipated because I had some extra finished objects I had to share. I had quite a few whips and a few different new yarn goodies, but just as a quick little overview on like what's been going on in my life this month, I mentioned that I went on a Bookish crafty girls retreat with a couple friends. We went to Arkansas and it was beautiful. I had such a fun time. It was exactly what my soul needed to take a break from other responsibilities and just take some slow time to enjoy being with friends and enjoy just being outdoors. Like the weather was perfect. It was in the 70s. We got to do some fun, like little bit of hiking and exploring outside. We got to go on the river on some canoes and kayaks. We got to read. We got to talk about our book club book. We got to work on crafts, both things that we brought ourselves and things that we shared with each other and taught each other. We had some really yummy foods because we like weren't trying to feed our small children, and we could just focus on like good foods that like made us feel good and that maybe required a little more effort than like a meal for a small child. It was the perfect trip. I wish it could have gone on a little bit longer. I'm planning on posting a vlog about this, but I share the projects and the books I brought on the trip, a little vlog on like what I did throughout the trip with my friends, and then a little like recap of like, this is what I actually got done as far as reading and crafting goes. So I'm excited to come out with that video hopefully soon. I also went on a fun trip with my husband and my daughter. We just got back from St. George, Utah. We drove down there. We did like a combination like 8th wedding anniversary trip for my husband and I, baby moon because baby's coming soon, so this is like our last little hurrah, and it was our last big activity to do with my daughter as like an only child, and so just making it a really fun vacation for her too, and we all had so much fun. I'm very tired, but it was so much fun. And again, the weather was perfect. It was like in the 70s during the hottest part of the day. I tried some delicious cheesecake from a local business. We did some exploring in local parks. We went and saw some cool dinosaur tracks. It was like a fun little like day and a half trip. It was like a little bit short because we didn't know how much we would feel up to doing, but it was a wonderful day and a half. We got to go to the pool a couple times for my daughter, which was definitely her favorite part. She's very much a water bug. I just had such a good, like, little over a month of going on a couple trips, really like filling my cup, doing the small, simple things that bring me joy. And it's been so, so nice. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm due at the end of December. So we'll see if we have a Christmas baby or not. I am starting to feel really pregnant. I think with the traveling that we did this past week, it's just kind of put me over the edge. So I'm starting to really feel it in the less comfy sense, I would say. But I am 32 weeks now, and baby's measuring 2 to 3 weeks ahead of schedule. We'll see when baby comes, but I feel like there's lots to be done still. And I think December in general is just gonna be a really busy and full and fulfilling month for us, including hopefully having a baby in that month. So we'll see what I get to do now in November, as I have a bunch of like test knits going on that I'm trying to get through before baby comes. Just things that I was really excited to cast on and to pull from my stash for, and now I'm like, oh dear, I have like 5 different test knits to keep track of. I'm doing things that I'm really excited about, and so if I'm a little busy, then I'm a little busy. We'll see again what kind of videos I can come out with. in the next month or so, because I will probably be not doing videos for a little bit as we're adjusting to being a family of 4 and having a newborn. We'll just see kind of how it all shakes out. Exciting things on the horizon, and I am really excited to be making a lot of fun things right now, both for me and for gifts for other people and for baby boy as well. So we'll see kind of what I get to in the month of November. Thank you so much for joining me for this podcast episode and seeing the things that I am working on. If you enjoy this type of content, I'd love to have you stick around. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification down below to be notified every time I post a new video. I like to do podcasts like this and sharing the things I'm reading too, but I also like to do a lot of different styles of fiber arts and reading related vlogs. So if that is your jam, then you are totally welcome here. I hope to have lots of videos coming out over the next couple months as I'm trying to catch up on some things I've already filmed and get ready to publish these videos before baby comes. So keep an eye out on my channel and the new things that are coming this way. I would love to hear down below if you've made any of these projects that I am currently working on or recently made. I highly recommend the Mom's Hug sweater. I feel like not a lot of people have made it. I really enjoyed my process of working it up and I've enjoyed wearing it so far, but we shall see as I continue to wear it a lot more this season as the weather cools down. And let me know if you have any other things that you've been working on that have really been bringing you joy. I love chatting with you down in the comments and learning about the projects that you are working on, both knitting and crochet. So definitely make sure to share down below because I would love to hear. And until next time, happy making. Bye.